Hey, what's up guys? I just wanted to say one thing before I get started with today's video. I'm very sorry for being absent for a while on my channel. I know I haven't posted in a few days and I deeply apologize. I just have been studying for an upcoming test and dealing with some personal problems of my own. And when it came around to making videos, I just didn't have enough motivation to do them at the time. But here I am now. I should be back up and running with new videos every week. So let's get on with today's video. Today, we'll be talking about Fischl and why she is so OP, as well as how to use her optimally. I mentioned in my earlier video very briefly on how to use her and some weapons she uses, which I will be rephrasing in this video, as well as some other details about her abilities, as well as some other characters that go good with her when comboing. So to start, Fischl is an Electro-type DPS bow user that is currently the best 4-star in the game. To me at least. And the reason why I say this is because she does heavy damage, and especially when you combo her with other characters. It's important to know that Fischl works best with pyro-type characters, such as Zhang Ling and Diluc. So to start, you should know that it is vital to build Fischl with weapons and artifacts, much like any other character. Some weapons that I found to be very useful with Fischl is the Stringless, which increases elemental skill and elemental burst damage by 24%, and if you ascend this weapon, it increases by 6% each time. Another weapon that I would recommend is the Compound Bow, which reads normal attack and aimed shot hits increase your attack by 4%, and normal attack speed by 1.2%. Your attack increases by 1% if you ascend the weapon, and your attack speed increases by 0.3%. Some elements I would go for is the Thundering Fury, which increases your electro damage by 15%, and as well as the Bloodstained Chivalry in the Gladiator's Finale. Again, I mentioned all this stuff on my previous video, so I'm not going to go into detail right now, but just to brush off of these, here they are again. So now let's look at some of her abilities in the game. And the first one being her normal attack. With her bow, she performs up to 5 consecutive normal attacks, each dealing more damage than the previous. And when you perform a fully charged attack, it roughly does 1.5 to 2 times the attack damage you would normally do. And when you plunge from a high distance above ground, it roughly does 50% of the damage than normal attacks. Everything I just told you relates to the Bolts of Downfall ability, which you can check in Fischl's data in case you forget. It's basically just her normal attack. Her next ability, which is arguably her best ability, is the Knight Rider ability. She basically summons her pet Raven to do some extra electro damage in the field. His name is Oz, and Oz's regular attack damage does roughly 88% normal electro damage. And his summoning damage, which is the small AoE he does when you summon him, does roughly 115% of damage. Her next ability, which is her ultimate, is called Midnight Phantasmagoria. It's her most powerful ability, and she takes on the form of her Raven Oz, and strikes nearby enemies with her electro attacks, dealing 208% of electro damage. However, they can only be striked once in this form. And finally, after you exit the Raven, he will continue to attack on the field, just like her other ability. If you decide to upgrade Fischl and ascend her even further, she has some passive abilities that she unlocks. I won't be going into detail about them, but just for your reference, they are in the character section under the Talents tab. Okay, so here's how to use Fischl optimally. Basically, using her to the best of her ability out there when you fight. Here's my one general rule. Use Knight Rider. It is easily her best ability, and yeah, sure, Midnight Phantasmagoria might do more damage, but you won't be using it as often, and the amount of damage it does over a long period of time doesn't even compare to Knight Rider. Always have Oz out on the field in any way possible. Having Oz out will ensure you're doing at least some form of consistent electro damage. It's also very important to note, as I said before, the reason why I mentioned having pyro characters out with Fischl is because you want the elemental reaction called Overload. And this elemental reaction reads, you create an explosion that deals pyro AoE damage and effectively breaks geoshields. My personal opinion, it's the best elemental reaction. It does a lot of damage, and you can use it against Geo-type enemies very easily. It's so good. I love doing it. But what I usually like to do is I run up on enemies, I hit them with Guoba, the panda, you know, using Zhang Li, which is one of her abilities, then switch to Fischl, use Knight Rider, and now you have these passive abilities doing all the damage for you. You don't even need to do anything. You're just doing so much damage just by those two abilities alone. And with Diluc, I usually use Knight Rider first, then swing with Diluc straight afterwards, since Fischl can also be used as a bit of a support type as well. You can also use many other pyro characters such as Klee to do some massive damage. You know, it just depends on what character you have and what you can use. It's completely up to you guys, but make sure you use a pyro character. Another thing I like to do is I summon Oz using a Knight Rider, wait for him to disappear, then use Phantasmagoria to summon him again. Then once he's off the field, your Knight Rider cooldown should be back to normal again. Then just repeat, and you're doing so much electro damage. It's great. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how to use her optimally. I really love Fischl. She's currently my favorite character when it comes to like fighting and stuff like that. She does so much damage if you build her right, and she can be used as a damage dealer as well as a support type. And speaking of support my channel by subscribing. It's totally free, and it only takes a few seconds. Anyway, I hope you guys found something useful in this video today. I'm really sorry about not posting. I will get back to it again. Don't worry, starting this week. And yeah, I'll talk to you all later in the next video.